Here.
Thank you.
Yay! We're live. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm so happy that today we have our own Thana. Hi, Thana.
Hello, Lenka.
How are you
I'm
today?
I'm good. Feeling feeling quite nice and fresh. The sun is out in Cambridge, so I'm really liking that. And I can see that you have some sun where you are today, so yay.
It's just light. That's not sun. Outside, we literally just had a massive shower. The heavens have opened out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's been happening also here, like infrequently in Cambridge. Like the weather has been a bit going cuckoo, and sometimes it's raining. So now the sun is out. I can't guarantee that's how the day is gonna be, but yeah, happy to be here today. Let's see who's going to be with us. It seems to be a kind of a top popular topic. I'm hoping, helping a bit of. Some of the people who are managing their social media or social media managers create some processes and strategic processes in their content creation and social media. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I would like to mention that I think I'd like to take questions or any comments during it, so that I don't lose my voice and people don't lose their attention span as well.
That's okay. So if, after a slide or couple slides, if you take a deep breath, I will always be here. We'll jump in, bring you the
Yeah,
questions, have a conversation with you, and all of that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. A reminder, make sure that you give a streamer permission before leaving a comment so that we can actually see who you are. We can interact with you. But without any further ado, the floor is yours, Dana, and go ahead.
thank you. Right, so today we're going to talk about strategic monthly content process. Keyword here is strategic because if you don't have a strategy or you don't know some of the basics, like who is your customer, what are your content pillars, what is your ecosystem basically, where do you usually have entry access point to your website, to your social media, where people can basically find you and communicate with you. From a strategic point, you need to know also what are the interests of your audience, who are they, male, female, age, X gender maybe, and also where do they hang out. So these are the basics that strategically you need to know before you actually start thinking about your content process. And I do hope that you all have this part covered from strategic point of view and you also have your strategy. And I also would like to mention that strategy doesn't have to be necessarily a huge project, depending on how big are your goals, how big are your targets, how serious you are about your sale, that your strategy should basically match that. But let's go ahead. So why planning? Because if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And again, the more serious you are about, what you want to achieve from your social media and marketing, the more your planning should be serious. So if you have no planning in place and you're just kind of on the go, it means that there's a high chance that you also might kind of miss out on if you're actually achieving your goals, if you're actually achieving the targets, or even feel like it's a consistent thing or part of your marketing. So that's why if you fail to plan, you're probably planning to fail. So what I'm going to cover here today is strategically there are three steps really that needs to happen. Yes, I do appreciate that each one of those steps will have sub steps or tactics or actions you need to take. But really, from a strategic point of view, there are three main elements to get your content out there. And the first step is to plan, the second step is to create, and the third step is to be visible and published. So in step one of plan it, we will look into what are the things that goes into your plan, and they must be in your planning. So, what should be in your planning is first, I say board, but it can be something else. It can be a card, it can be a note. It depends. The reason I call it board because I do use Trello or Content Cal, and you have a board. You can imagine it as a calendar, and you have number of posts that you want to share. So create a board. You also need to decide how many posts you want to share in a week or in a total of month. I do look into my boards as weeks, and in that week, how many posts I would like to share. And I will show you how it actually looks after. So after I create the board and I decide how many posts I want to share on Instagram, how many posts I want to share on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on, I create all these cards because when you see something visually, it just becomes much easier. And then the second point is that, which is super important, because there will always be key dates that needs to be part of your process on a monthly basis. So these can be the reason I say business anniversary. It doesn't have to be as big as business anniversary, but think of it like something related to your business. So key dates can be your maybe a promotion you create in the spring. It can be an event you have, anything that is related to your business that you must make sure that if you have something going on, even if it's offline, that you must put this as a key date in your monthly content planning. And the second one is from an international point of view or national point of view. So you have things like Mother's Day, Christmas. For example, we have this month mental health awareness month in the US. We have mental health awareness week in the UK. So these days you have to look into them every single month and make sure they are part of your planning. The third thing is your content pillars. So these can be evergreen, they don't change, and some of them will slightly change. So, for example, you write a blog every month or bi weekly, you must have posts that mention that you have your new blog, you can repurpose it or you can announce it. The second one is if you're a service based or product based, whatever you are, you must make sure that one of the posts cover whatever you're selling or whatever you're promoting. So that's from a brand promotion. If you have questions about what should be the content pillars, obviously I'm happy to answer that. But I'm assuming you already also know what are your content pillars, whether it's a recurring thing, so it's evergreen content, or so these are the hygiene. If you know from a content point of view, you have hygiene, so these are always constant that don't change. You then have the hub. So this comes kind of occasionally, and then you have the hero that is one of the biggest topics of the year, for example. Then what needs to go into your planning is once you decide how many posts, what are the key dates that you need to mention, what are the content pillars that must be mentioned in your content planning. You need to decide on the format because obviously this will help you massively in the creation process. So each post or each card or each board you created and you decided what is the topic, or is it a blog, is it a Mother's Day promotion, whatever it is, you need to label it. Again, no matter what is the tool you are using, you can either write it or you can label it, and I will show you what does that mean actually in the next one. So you label if this is going to be just an image or a video or a carousel or an IGTV. So be specific if you want, but mainly there is image, video, and link. So this is what goes into your planning, and this is how it would look like. So this is an example of this is from Trello, but whatever tool you are using, it should look some similar to this. And why I say similar, because it needs to have, so your strategic, where you mention, for example, what are your platforms, what are your content pillars, what is your branding. And why I put this here, because sometimes after the content is created, for example, colors, if your content is based on color. So for example, let's say for this client, for mental, anything that related to mental health is green, anything related to social is yellow, and so on. So in the end, we can have an overview. Are we too yellow? Are we too orange? Are we not covering certain topics enough, and so on? And the ecosystem, so this is also I've created to the client. So what is their ecosystem? Means where are they existing, whether it's an owned channel or just simply having an account there or a voice there. And potentially, say take for an example, sometimes Insight Timer will mention that client, so we need to make sure that we always check Insight Timer if they ever mention us. So this is part of our ecosystem. So that's strategic. I always keep it here in my board from month to month. But let's look at, after we've actually done the steps that I just talked about in the planning, you will find that, okay, I decided that this post will be in week 1. It will be on Facebook and Instagram. It will talk about the brand and promote. So this is the content pillar. The topic is whatever topic we've talked about. And then I put that it's going to be a video or an image. I also decide on the day. So in this point, when you're planning, some of them, if it's a key date, so you already know the date. So for example, if your event is on 12th of March, you need to promote it before that, and so on. So you can see how, if you've done this step, creating the content is going to be super easy. And it will just become faster and faster by the month, because you know that some of the posts will never change. I will always need to announce my blog. I will always need to announce that I have a newsletter. I will always need to talk about my services, so on. So when you follow these steps and you create the board, it just becomes very visual, very easy. I'm here. I'm reading Lillian. So love the color coding would really help for finding that balance. Exactly. So not all brands have this differentiation. When, for example, like in this case, mental, social, engaging, and so on. But if you do, the coding will the colors will help you have that overview. And the other level of code, the color coding you use, is these pillars, So if you look at this board, you will find that, for example, okay, we are doing 3 posts that are engage and inspire. We are doing 3 posts that are authority, so that's our blog. You will see also 1, 2, 3 that are brand and promotion. So you will see that there will be month that, for example, because this month was focusing on engaging and inspiring, so the balance between those content pillars is quite healthy. But then, if you follow this color coding and you want to make sure that you always talk about mental, physical, and social in every month, you will see like, oh wait, we're not doing anything mental this month, or nothing. We don't have any physical type of topic. So that's why color coding really helps, and that's why creating a board also really helps you visualize. Are you doing enough of that content, or are you not doing enough of that content? Right. So that's the first step. if so that was on Trello, and we also use for clients, we all use Content Cal, and it's also a brilliant tool, not only for planning, but the advantage of it is that it's planning and publishing, so it's really nice. But if you're not into the digital type of planning and you'd like to be quite traditional, or if you're just even starting and you don't have the much of the first point I've talked about, which is the strategy and strategic, I do recommend that you check out the social media planner notebook, because it will help you fill out those goals, those strategy points. You will also be able to fill out points about your customer and audience and so on, and plan. I do know that we're almost half of the year, so it was still worth it to buy a note now. Again, if you prefer more traditional. Right. So the second step we talked about is creating your content. And you can imagine how easy it can be after you've put down or your all your the number of posts, where on which platform it's going to go, the colors and the balance between the content pillars and so on. And you've decided that you actually, how many images do you need, how many videos, and so on. So now we need to create the content. There are two types of people here. So there are the type of people that like to create on the go. So they wouldn't put a day where they, like create a studio and they sit and they plan that this day is to create my content. And so, yeah, two types of people. But I would say, whatever type of person you are, it is less stressful and it could be more strategic when you create them in batches. So think of, like this month is mental health awareness. And if you already know that when I'm creating on that day, my content, it will just help me be more strategic of like, oh, I've mentioned this in this topic, or the colors, or even the fonts, or like the look and feel of it. So creating in batches just help you. If you started the process, it will just be easier to be in the flow and finish the process. But if you can't do that for a whole month, even week by week is better planning than no planning. So if you can't do a whole month, or if you cannot do 2 weeks, week by week is still okay. So if you say every Monday or every Sunday, for example, depends when do you have that gap to create your content. So do put a time to create the content, whether you want to film, whether you want to gather the gallery, whether you want to create them or curate them. I must say also here, if your process involves more than one person, so it involves other than you as a social media manager, if it involves a client, if it involves designers, if it involves someone that needs to provide you initially with the content that you're going to curate, you must allow at least 2 weeks of a creation period. What that means, if this post needs to go on the 1st of May, imagine, so you can't just start planning in the beginning of the month of May, because let's say second day of May, day two, is actually Word Laughter Day. You can't just come on day laughter day and decide that, okay, I'm gonna plan it a day before and ask my client to take a photo of them laughing, for example. So if your process involves more than you, it involves a client, it involves a designer. So obviously the designer have also project they're working on, allow at least 2 weeks of this content creation. So the first day is your planning. Honestly, it does not take more than one day to do this planning, and I'm not saying it's going to take a whole day. It will take a few hours. So once you've done the planning, and it will become easier from month to month, once you've done that step of planning, allow 2 weeks that the creation, and the creation is not only design, remember, because you also need to write the captions and all. So 2 weeks. So this is how it would look. Now we've filled the designs. This is an image. Here it's one of them is a carousel, but it will not appear here. Sorry, this is a carousel. No, it's a video, image, and image. We didn't. Oh, image as carousel. So this is a carousel, obviously. But see, like now we see that okay, we've covered, for example, social. We've covered mental. There is a bit hidden here, so that's why you're not seeing it. But we do have blue in that month. Orange is the brand, so you see, like okay, it's a there's a balance there. We're not too yellow, we're not too green, and so on. Orange is fine because that's the main brand color, and we want to be kind of orange as possible because we are in the building awareness phase. So yeah, this is how your board could look like in step 2 after you filled it and you feel quite happy about yourself because the biggest chunk of your planning and creation has passed. And once you've reached this point, it's just a matter of really publishing your content. So, publishing your content, again, you can be one of two people. You can be the person who wants to schedule it and relax. There's not a lot of relaxing, but the stress is gone because you still need to do some work, and we will talk about that, like the maintenance part. But honestly, scheduling whatever comes through your week, especially if you're managing clients and if you're managing more than one client, at least if you know that the content is scheduled, it will take out a lot of stress from you. The second one is if you are the person who would like to publish on the due date, that's also fine. But somehow you need to remember that you need to publish. So if you're using a tool to plan, it will be easy because, for example, as you saw, when these cards have dates, it means it will send you a reminder to publish. So that's fine. If you're more of the traditional and you're not even using a tool and you want to publish on the due date, even though it's not fully recommended, but that's fine if that's your style. Put a reminder on your phone, or if you have your notebook, and just put a reminder to make sure that you publish on that time. Right. Now, if you go with option 1 and you want to schedule, if you don't know that, but basically you can either schedule with the native platforms, and native platforms mean, for example, on Facebook you can schedule for Facebook and Instagram, and but Twitter and LinkedIn and so on, I think you can't schedule just yet. But there are third-party tools that are for free to use. Some of them are free to use, and I will mention them later. And the second one is, as I said, to put a reminder for yourself to publish on the day. What are the tools and resources? Now, this is the part. So what are the tools and resources that are involved in those 3 steps? In the planning, you need your strategy. You can't just be like, oh, I'd like to post about this, or I would like to post about that, or how about we talk about the blog today and then forget it for another month. You must have your strategy because your strategy will guide your planning. Lenka, you can schedule media content on Twitter via the Media Studio photo, video, etc. tweet, or you can use a Twitter native app tweet deck. Perfect. So there you go. I didn't mention actually TweetDeck or any of these because ContentCal, for example, cover all these platforms. But let's go back to the beginning. So you have planning, creating, and publishing. this can look as complicated or as easy as you want. So in your planning, you need your strategy. For my planning, I use, for example, Trello, but as I mentioned, you can use a more traditional uh, way, like your notebook, or you can also use Content Cal, because in Content Cal you can plan. The third one is for the key dates. So obviously from a business point of view, you will know the key dates when you have an event, when you have a promotion, when you have, for example, something coming up, a new employee, you're hiring a new employee, and one of your strategy point is that you want people to know who your employees are. So that's from your business point of view. But from the international and bank holidays point of view, I personally use the days of the year website. So days of the year website shows you all the awareness days, chocolate day, social media day, or for example, something as popular as Mother's Day, and so on. So this is the website I use. I visit on a monthly basis, collect all the days that I want, put them in my board, and label them by the day. In the creating, so again, you have three things. So you have a gallery where you probably already have photos from your brand, or your about your product, about your service, about yourself. So it depends, your gallery and your website. Why your website is important? Because not only it will have the final look and feel of the photos you might want to go to, but your website has all the content that you've worked really hard, and it was probably the most important content you've ever written, or should have been. And your website usually should have everything you do. So it will have your blog, it will have your ethos, it will have the team, it will have the services, the products, it will have the descriptions about these, it will have everything you actually need. And curating that to social media is such a great way to, especially in brand awareness phase, where you're still introducing yourself to the people. So use your website because it has, again, the content that you've spent the most time on. It is, as I do appreciate that it might be longer, not very suitable for social media, but that's why I mentioned curating, and also to make sure that usually and quite recommended is that whatever you post on social media should follow the brand tone and voice you actually have on your website. So if on your website your brand tone is very, very serious and formal and professional, you probably want to follow something similar on social media. Not boring. There's a difference between being professional and formal, and between being boring and casual. So your website will also help you if you're in the starting point to choose that. But also, let's say you have been working for quite a while on your social media, it wouldn't be harmful to go to your website and see, like, what can I take from that? What can I repurpose? What can I refresh? Maybe it's your website that needs work. The second tool I use is because my clients are small businesses and we want a faster process to create content. So that's why we use Canva. It's not a graphic designer tool, but it is a great tool for small businesses. It does almost everything you need for a small business. And the third one is Grammarly, because yeah, it's always nice to have a tool that can help you make your content a bit in terms of writing. Just make sure that you have, if you don't have someone proofreading your content, that's what I'm saying. If you don't have anyone proofreading your content, it would be helpful to have a tool, something like Grammarly, just to make sure like it look tidy. It will not write for you. That's not the point. You will still need to be a bigger part from your side, but it helps. The third one is about publishing. So as I said, you can if you want to publish directly, definitely the native platforms is the best thing to go to. But if you want to schedule, you can use Creator Studio. So Creator Studio is by Facebook themselves. It's for free. You can schedule posts, carousels, and so on. But actually now Business Suite, you can also schedule stories. So if you were following us on Cambridge social media, you'll probably know this already. And the third one is Content Cal, where you can plan and also schedule the content. Not stories yet, but everything else. Also, if you have an Adobe subscription, Spark Post is a good Canva type alternative. Yeah, so that's a recommendation from Lillian. So if anyone is interested, you can just check Spark Post, and knowing that it's in Adobe, probably it will be also very, very professional and high quality. So do check it out if you're looking for something maybe more advanced than Canva. Right. So what next? I have some bonus because now we've finished our 3 steps. We've covered the planning, we've covered the creation, and we've covered the publishing. So as a bonus, what I would like to share today is, because this is a frequent question, is when should we post, or how do we know when should we plan? All tools, almost by now, all platforms will tell you when your audience is online, is active. So do use that, because the less frequent you post, the more you need to make sure that you are posting when at least the most of your online audience is online. So if you post frequently during the week, if you post 3, 4, 5, or even more in during the week, maybe that you don't have to worry about who's active or not during the week, because you're active, so that's good already. So higher frequency is good. But if you don't post more than 1, 2 times a week, then it's more important and really important to look at the days that you should schedule. If it's not sensitive, if it's not a date sensitive, like today is Mother's Day, for example. No, not Mother's Day. So let's say today is because Mother's Day usually is promoted before. But let's say today is World Chocolate Day. You you want to publish it on today. You can't just like schedule it for another day. But let's say if it's not day sensitive and you're looking to schedule, so this is from Instagram Insights. So we already can see that Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday are the best day to post. So if it's not day sensitive, I probably don't want to post on a Saturday because it's the least. Even though the difference is not huge, but still, why not? The second one, which is very significant difference between times, is that 6 p.m. for us is for example, this is for Cambridge social media. 6 p.m. is a rule of thumb good on Instagram, 6 p.m. So why is this important? Because if I know this, I definitely don't want to post on 6 a.m. or even 9 a.m. Because the difference is like, yeah, there's a big gap. So that's why timing is important. So always check before you schedule, when should you schedule. You can get the information on usually the platforms themselves, so on Facebook and Insights, on Instagram and Insights, and not sure on Twitter. And you can see that I'm not a not a very huge user of Twitter, but yeah, most platforms could tell you. If they don't tell you, you try to see from the past month which post performed better, and most likely the timing and the day will tell you something about that, or could lead you in the right direction. The second thing is that you can always have your profile work for you. So You're probably saying everything in the caption, and your website is amazing, but the setup of your profile. Here I'm showing Instagram, but not necessarily Instagram. Whatever profile you have, make sure that it's set up correctly. For the best times to post being Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6 p.m., is this just for Instagram, or is it reflective of all social media channels? This is not only Instagram, but it's only this specific um, account. So what I have been showing you here is I've taken it from Cambridge Social Media Insights on Instagram. So this will differ from an account to another, and this will differ from platform to another. So wherever you have an account, go into your own analytics and see, because it might not be Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday at 6 p.m. because for other clients it's actually not. But for Cambridge Social Media, it is those days and it is this time. For other clients, they might be better in the morning. So you do need to check your own account. So the second thing is your profile, as I said. So for example, Instagram gives you different options to make sure that you're providing the information that your client might be looking at. So usually your username. So my username is not my actual name because my actual name is here. And by the way, this is searchable. So if people look for your name or what you do, if you put it here, that's searchable. I don't have what I do here, because I want people to understand what's my name. Because yeah, I've had a bit of drama with that. People do think now my name is Thanaya, so that's why important for me I put my name here. But your username can be different, but still, it make sure that it's not too long, it's not complicated, it doesn't have underscores and weird characters. Your name or what you do can be here, and again, this is searchable, which is so important. Your image, it can be of yourself. Obviously, I'm not trying to sell things here, so my image can be improved. That's a note for myself. But for now, at least it shows a person there. What you do, what in your bio, what you want people to do, what you provide, maybe a bit about you, your link to your website or link tree. It depends if you have plenty of destinations. And also your location. So if your physical location is important to who you do business with, make sure that it's mentioned, because you can. And the last one is how people contact you. So for me, I only chose email. People can contact me through email, but you can have your location, messaging you, texting you, and also to call you. All right. Last before last. So there are tactics basically that I have been following, and honestly, whatever action you want to take, if you follow this, um, and if you go from here, it will help you. So strategize, which is always that's your planning and your strategy and your publishing. Be strategic about it. Second is socialize. Even if you are a very formal professional brand, socializing is still important though. So the way you communicate, how much you communicate, and network, where you are, and so on, which network you are part of. And the third one is to sustain. So you can't be visible for this month, disappear for several months, and you know expect that it will get the result that or the return that you want. So if you go from there, be human, be clear in your messages, and be visible, and start applying your tactics with actions. Slowly, you will start seeing the results. So this is my 6 golden rules or tactical actions that I take, followed by these um, three taglines or main pillars. So there are things you need to be doing on social media because simply posting is not enough. There's so much noise, so much competition. People's are being distracted with so many things. Now, I don't mean that you need to add to the noise, and I don't mean you want to capture their attention for whatever you have to share. But there are things you need to be doing from a brand, from a strategy, and from a human point of view. So you need to be following key influencers or credible industry key figures. So if you are someone who works, for example, in a health related dental clinic or so on, you want to be following NHS, you want to be following like minded people of people who advocate health and so on. You could also be following, so if you know your clients and their account is public, not private, and if they talk about the subject, if they seem to be interested in it, they don't share many personal things. Clients could be one of these people that you can follow. You need to be spending at least 30 minutes to 1 hour a week at least to like relevant posts that are relevant to your industry and so on, likes on stories, commenting, talking to people, engaging in conversations. Third one here, start exploring more accounts, more people you can connect with, more people you can talk to, more people they can become, someone who you can invite to have a discussion with on as an event live, or they can host you and so on. One thing you can do as well, it depends. You can't probably do this if you are selling a product or if you have a lot of followers, obviously. But if you are still small and trying to grow, what you can do is something, for example, I do personally, because I post almost once a month on my Instagram. So, for example, because I don't post as frequently, there's a very high chance maybe people will not see it, or maybe it's actually something that means a lot to me and I would like to share it with at least some people I know that follow me on social media. So I create the post and I share it in direct message, and I write a simple small message saying like, I'm happy to share this with you, watch what happened, or I was promoted, or I was whatever the message is. Personalize it a bit, but you can send it to many people together, so it doesn't have to be massive chunk of time. But send it directly to people if you know them personally, or if they follow you. So you cannot just send it to strangers you haven't engaged with and expect them to engage with you. And the last one is probably not a brainer, but yes, you can always share your post on your story with a call to action to read, to watch, to comment, to visit the link, watch the video. And yeah, done. I've talked so much. And I took a lot of time, but yeah, we took a few questions during the session, so that's fine. So the last thing I want to say, if you'd like to connect with me on social media, obviously do find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm mostly active there. And if you'd like to check my website, there are some blogs, trainings, or just to see if you would like to collaborate. Lenka, thank you.
Amazing, brilliant session. I think it's one of those sessions where you just quietly sit and take a ton of notes and you take it in and you're like, wow, this is so fantastic to have it very clear, 1, 2, 3, step-by-step process. So even if I know how this kind of works, always having a reminder and a couple of tricks and seeing your brilliantly kind of planned out and laid out Trello board always makes me just so happy, because it's so satisfying to really have a plan in place and have a process, really knowing that if I feel stuck on content ideas, if I sit in front of a blank screen, I do have some prompts that really help me to unlock the kind of the block. But do you have any other tips on really coming up with specific content ideas? If you say you have themes and you have certain categories that you potentially have color coded, but then you're still sitting and you have the awareness days, but there's still a gap, and you're like, what am I doing with this gap? I need to write something about X, but I don't know what to write about. Do you have any other kind of prompts or tips or processes on how to get the creative juices flowing?
Yeah, so because I work with a client, so obviously it's not all on me. You will always have an idea what we would like to do, and sometimes it's no brainer. It's just because of the topic, it kind of lead you. So, for example, on World Laughter Day, we had an image in the gallery of the client laughing. Like, so if you're already aware of what's in your gallery, it sometimes it just comes naturally. Oh, it's World Laughter Day. I can just obviously use this image, but a lot of times, if you are not a creative person, like who comes up with these crazy ideas, and you don't have that in you, I would say it's fine. It's, don't put so much pressure, but you will always have an idea that you can either work on it and see where it goes, or if you have a client, obviously that idea needs to be discussed with the client. Maybe they have a different idea, or maybe you can work together to crystallize that. So, for example, in Mental Health Awareness Days, we did a series of 3, 4 videos of, because the topic was connect with nature. So we've done one where we first talked about the topic of mental health awareness. The second one was the client actually outdoor connecting with nature, walking the dog. And the third one was just very ad hoc. So yeah, I would say in terms of when it comes to creativity, if it's up to you only, start with your own intuitive or idea. Do research what others have been doing last years if it seems like something you can do for your brand. It's never wrong to actually see what's out there, what has been done, and what you can do about it. Can you replicate and improve, or can you completely change it and be like, no, I can do something better, and this doesn't satisfy me. So yeah, that's what I would say about, if you want to be more creative.
I think it's interesting when you said that you looked at your clients like a database of content and you picked from that. But I think that if you're just starting out and you might not have a huge database of stuff, that it might be challenging to, have the inspiration or have the content to work with. And you can either go to the stock market, to the visual stock market. You can go to places like Unsplash or Pixabay to look for some stock photography or videos. But what I found really helpful is have this on hand all the time and take a ton of random pictures, take photos indoors, outdoors, all the time, take photos of weird things, of nature, of items, of angles, of close-ups. And then when you're creating content and you need a unique background, you need a kind of a
Yeah,
unique way of representing. I always love thinking about different way how I can represent a topic. I don't always want to be too literal with the image I'm using.
yeah,
And I found very helpful,
yeah,
especially these days, these things are absolutely brilliant. We can do so much
yeah,
with it. And having for me now, like for the years, having a ton of photos, and I'm personally using like Google Drive where I have all my photos. And Google Photos are brilliant with the fact that I can go on my Google backup and I can type a 2, 3 keywords, and it will bring me all the images that are relevant to the keywords that I've written. And I can then feel like, oh, this actually feels like the right kind of a photo that
yeah,
could be potentially a little bit
yeah,
abstract, but a background or an image that I could use for a certain topic. So I think
yeah,
it's a great way to start working on building your database or your bag of random
exactly.
images.
Yeah, which is why I said, like, for the first two steps will always start from with you, so your strategy and your gallery. And I think if you're a business, you must have a gallery. They must have a gallery. And usually it depends, again, depending how serious you are about that. So gallery can be as random or as organized as you want. So you can organize it by, this is branding, this is my office, these are my clients, these are, like UGC, these are, my own photos and so on. So do organize your gallery, put a gallery together and always add to it. We use it for Cambridge social media, we use it for clients, and it's always helpful to start from there, because not you can't create content all the time. So do have in mind that when I get to that point where I'm not able to create content, but look at my gallery that I have organized and created before, so definitely helps. So Lillian is saying Unsplash is a great free photography site. Yeah, actually use Unsplash with so because my website is Wix, and it's so Unsplash is one of the integrated tools. So I do use it to choose photos. If you also photography site, you mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because also if you're on Canva, obviously you have access, the pro subscription, you have access to photos, so that's also great. Cool. I think we're almost done.
Yeah,
Is
we have a few more minutes. If everyone has a question,
Yeah,
then do let us know. If you're watching the replay, as always, leave your questions in the comments, and we
yeah,
are monitoring the videos even after
yeah,
they're finished. So ask your questions, comment. We will be on the
yeah.
lookout. We would answer you.
Actually, yeah. Maybe if someone can tell us, like, was there something that they've been doing differently? Are they going to change it? Do they have any advices? Because obviously each person follow their own process that works for them, but if anyone has a different process or advice to put in the process that maybe I've left out, maybe something you didn't like in my process or thought like, no, why are you doing this, do let us know. So yeah, just a bit of feedback if anyone can think of anything. If you can't think of anything now, it's fine. You can also always get in touch. I'm interested to actually know if anyone has different processes in place, or if they have any recommendations and so on. But if not, we'll end for today. And I've always used Excel for planning, but we'll have a look at some of those sites like Trello. Yeah, absolutely. So if you work for several clients or even for one client, and if you're interested, because obviously you need to have the buy-in of your the executives, the owner of the business. Trello, if you want something for free only for planning, but we always recommend also Content Cal, and Lenka can tell us why. But Content Cal is not only for planning, but you can also do publishing. So if you want to have your executives buy in to one of those tools and a bit of investment, it's not expensive at all. And it will, you can actually have them on the board with you on Content Cal. So yeah, choose between those two. It depends on if you want one tool to plan and publish or just plan. So Lenka, can you just tell us about Content Cal? I think for our community we have a code.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, the reason why I love Content Call is that I don't need to go anywhere else. I used to use Google Spreadsheets, which is like Excel for planning, and then copy pasting everything into the scheduling tool, which, it can work. It's okay. But since working in Content Call, I love the fact that I can put campaigns. So I can say that from this day to this day, there is a campaign that we're running. I can name it. I can add resources and links that are relevant to the campaign. I can add notes and kind of ideas for each day, so I can plan it out there.
Yeah.
The way you had color coded themes and kind of topics, I can do the same in Content Cal. I can set up a list of my themes, of my categories, and it is color coded, so I can see that. And then it has analytics embedded in, and I
Yeah.
can then organize my analytic based on the content type. So I can then filter my content, and I can see which of these types of content, which of these categories are actually performing the best. You can work on a team with it. If you are, small business owner and you have a couple of people you're working with, you have a designer, you have other people who should have access to it because you're assigning them designs. You can create draft posts, you can assign them to people, and they can then
Yeah.
add the visuals to it. So you can really build your processes in there. You have a place where you can have like a brain dump, your pin board, where you can have lots of ideas. And I love the fact that they're a local company, that they're a UK
Right.
startup who
Indeed. Brilliant.
have who have an absolutely amazing customer service team.
Yeah.
They're adding new services all the time. They're really improving as the audience is requesting. And that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love working with, Content Cal. Not only it allows me to have all in one place, but the people behind the brand are always there when I need them. So if you're using Content Cal or considering Content Cal, we are partnered with them. We have Andy coming regularly to teach us about the news of social media and all the ins and outs. And we do have a special discount code. So if you are considering to going pro with Content Cal, you have a free version. And a free version is enough for you. Absolutely. If you want to take it to the next level, you can use the code CMS20, and then you will get 20% off your subscription, which I think is a pretty decent deal.
Nice. Cool. Thank you, Lillian, for being the most active person with us. Actually, she's the most active person on all of the trainings. Thank you. And yeah, it's always fun to come and do these kind of talks because it gives you perspective actually on what you are doing in your work and daily basis. So thanks for having me, Lenka, and thanks for everyone who tuned in today. And special thanks to Lillian for being with us here today. And yeah, so that's it from my side. If you have any questions, would like to connect, do connect with me on social media. I'm a very social person, even though I don't post much, but I'm watching. I'm one of those people who watch. So yeah, and who's ever here today, thank you so much.
Thank you, Thana, for a fantastic session. And I will close out with a little bit of a quick reminder that we're running this year's Cambridge Social Media Day virtually. Again, it will be in October. And we have super early bird tickets on sale right now. And if you want them, make sure that you head over to our website and grab them because the price will go up on the 1st of June. So we have only a few days left for you to grab a ticket. It will be fantastic to the event, and I really hope I'll see you there. And yeah, that's pretty much everything from me. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.